Okay, on the count of three, we're going to go with this.
You fail.
Yeah, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't do it the first time.
Okay.
It just feels so pretentious. Hello, and welcome to Mostly Off Topic Plays Lord of the Rings. The One Ring.
We're
You
doing
can do it.
Lord of the Rings.
You can do it. Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's try this. Let's try it again. Hello! No, that's just too much. Everybody's now going, whoa, turn the bloody voice down. Hello, and welcome to Mostly Off Topic Plays Laughter of Dragons, the One Ring, 2nd edition, Alpha edition, red go faster striped so we can be quicker, I guess. So this is episode 29, session 15. The 2nd edition Alpha dropped like a handful of days ago. The guys have pulled it out of the bag. They've converted their characters. We've read the PDF, bits of it, and we're gonna. Wow, look at that. We're gonna give this a run through using 2nd edition rules. There'll be another video which will have been released around about the same time as this one, which will talk to you about how we've converted the characters over. But before we talk about what we think of 2nd edition, we want to play it because we like to talk about things we've got first-hand experience of, like not being very good at intros. I am joined by Ben.
Hello.
Joe.
Hello.
Matt.
Hello.
Excellent. So, right, there's a set of stuff that I normally say at the start of an episode. Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. We are playing Laughter of Dragons. There are spoilers for Laughter of Dragons. If you're dropping in at episode 29, and you might be, in fairness, you might be, because this is the 2nd edition first episode. We will spoil Laughter of Dragons for you in every way that you could intend that sentence in terms of its meaning. We are going to tell you about it, and we're going to spoil it for you. Even if your lore master isn't running Laughter of Dragons, but they're going to have a board, they may well just lift stuff that we're going to be playing through, so just be warned that is a thing that's going to happen. Ken is going to come in and he's going to tell you about his YouTube channel, and he's going to tell you I need to pin. He wanted me to pin a message in chat, and I don't know how to do any of that. But when that happens, we'll just be kind of splitting off bits so you can have your beer. And that's that. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's a really bad edit. It's like really sharp. It goes bang, and then it goes bang, then we're back in the room. And we are just playing the One Ring, and particularly we're playing 2nd edition because we play role-play games, and we also have the opportunity to record them because we have got a really low barrier of effort, actually. So don't think that we're playing it in the right way. Don't think that those guys played it like that, therefore they must play it like that. Hey, Mr. Lawmaster, Paul said this was the rule. No, just you play the game that you want to play, that you enjoy playing. We have a particular approach to the game that we have because it's just our approach, but it does not mean it's the right way to do it. Particularly with 2nd edition, where we are going to get things wrong. In a year's time, people are going to look back at this episode and go, what the hell were those guys thinking when they interpreted the rule in that way? There we have it. And I would also like to thank everybody for the views, for the comments, for the chat, for the engagement, for generally just really being awesome about it. It makes me feel a lot better about the world when I read some fantastic feedback. I share it with these guys, and I'm like, look at this, and we all feel like we're adding some value, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Absolutely.
Entertainment more than enlightenment, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
So I enjoy it. We're going to try. We're like trying to increase the amount of engagement that we have with our audience without getting too pretentious about it, because we know, we're not huge by any measure. But because we're playing 2nd edition first time round, we're probably going to be trying to concentrate on the game. So we might not be focusing as much on the chat as we have been doing recently. This is the first cut of the Alpha rules. We have had some time, but not much time to get up to speed. We are going to get things wrong. We're going to take an interpretation that is going to get later clarified or what have you. And I haven't converted the adventure, so that's been done on the fly, which is going to be interesting. Also, this evening, I want to play with some key rules, so I'm going to try and shoehorn a few things in that I might not necessarily have used the equivalent 1st edition rules for, but I just want to see some of those core kind of like activities, like a council, a combat, a journey, all that kind of stuff. So it might feel like it's a little bit disjoint from our traditional kind of like narrative of the game, and it might feel like, whoa, that feels a bit contrived. And the reason for that is because it has been. And therefore, this might not be the best episode to watch to get a feel for how does a normal Laughter Dragons kind of like session happen. There's going to be a lot more flicking through of rules and trying to do all of that kind of stuff as we do it. So why are we doing second edition? I think there's some appetite for people to watch it. I think that we want to play it to build up our experience and our learning, and we want to talk about it, so we want to play it. Okay, there we have it. Is there anything else that I should add at that point?
Only you said that second edition was go faster stripes, and I think it's actually more likely to be much slower stripes during this first few episodes.
It definitely is. It definitely is. I've got a set of notes, but they're not very concise. So before we do any of that, let's go all the way back and let's have a little review of what has happened in the campaign, what's happened in the game so far, so that we're seated at a point. This is the start of a new adventure, so I think it's important. So back when it's still the third age of Middle Earth. We're not going all the way back. We're not like knocking around some Silmarils or anything. So there have been signs that something is not quite right betwixt Dale and Erebor. Since that time, a dwarf got stuck under his own cart, and a shadow-ridden hobbit needed to be taken to task with the sharp end of a mattock. The guys met outside the gates of Dale and investigated some bandits that were in turn league with orcs, it turns out. And in fact, there was an orc in Dale itself. They dealt with that situation, moved on with their lives. Since then, the player heroes have become involved with Balin, not Lothar's dad, but the actual Balin. They have saved the ancestral forges of Erebor from destruction by jealous dwarves that were pumping the bellows of Dalish resentment towards Erebor. That kind of like, there's been a general theme of the city versus the kingdom, and the friction that gets created between them. They've ruffled a few feathers in the court of Bard. They've unruffled a few feathers in the court of Bard. They've travelled out into the wastes, and they've recovered from the tomb of Girion's son an ancient coat of mail, dwarven made, and they've managed the diplomatic approach to try to balance the city and the mountain, and they came out of that pretty well. So essentially, there's a thread that they're tugging at in terms of what's stirring up the relationship and trying to sour the relationship. Lord Hakon has been kind of like pushed to the side, though there's kind of thoughts that maybe he's not such a nice guy. There's known to be a dragon lurking off in the withered heath somewhere, kind of like poking its face around. And there's also some fell influence settling on the region. So it's kind of usual, the Wandering stuff, really. More recently, in the very recent past, over the winter, they have traded the way of smithing for the way of storytelling. They've investigated the nobles of Dale to poke holes in their tales of grandeur, and they've also established a paramilitary organisation outside of any state control. What can go wrong there, then? It would look okay, I'm sure, to any passing kings that that has been founded. Don't look too hard, Lothar? It is now the late spring of the Third Age, the year 2960. And individually, wherever they've resided, our player heroes have had a messenger, a dwarven messenger, approach them on a matter of grave import to King Dain Ironfoot, the king under the mountain. They have each been asked to attend back in Erebor to make sure that they are there for the end of April, where the king wishes to speak with them on a matter of grave weight. Pressing their messengers a little more, the senior herald has revealed that King Dain wishes to form an expedition to slay a threat that is residing in the north of the kingdom, a dragon that he fears will grow strong, perhaps as strong as Smaug, who desolated the lands. The messenger stresses to the player heroes the importance of keeping this secret, for Dain does not wish to spread fear at this delicate time, but it is a matter that dwarven hands need to resolve. And their exploits in the recovery of the coat of mail and their trust that Balin has placed in them has led Dain to conclude that they are very much the player heroes for the job. They return from wherever they are. Some were also in Erebor already, and they have gathered in the kingdom and the mountain, but not in the depths of the kingdom, or within the depths of the mountain where they most naturally would have thought that audience with King Dain would be met, but further up into the eaves, the loft of the mountain, where Torg certainly knows that there is a ledge, a balcony that opens out onto the shoulder of the mountain and gazes off towards the rising sun. One of the few places within the mountain where the freshness of the air and the chill of the mountain winds can breach the holdfast. Surrounded by the stone guards, some of which recognise both Torg and Loftar from the practicing that they had with them over the winter within the kingdom, they can hear King Dain's voice, quite strong as it echoes from the audience chamber beyond. "No," he says, "I deny your requests. It is too expensive to put you into the field, and I need you here to be able to recover in case any of our great leaders are injured or cannot take to the battle. No, we are not going to put you into play at this moment, Brock Ironfist. For it is too expensive, as I say. Please bear with me." Another voice. "I've got to get out there. I've been inside too long. I've not been onto the field of battle for number of years. I was one of the first to be called." "No," Dain says, "the matter is closed, Lord Ironfist. Please do not embarrass yourself any further." The stomping of Brock Ironfist as he walks through, glancing at Loftar, he nods. There has been more than a passing familiarity betwixt those two, and off into the darkness of the kingdom of Erebor he goes. Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, perhaps he can replace me one day.
Back to the binder for another year.
That's it. Perhaps he can replace me one day. You know, he'll be a fitting replacement if I'm no longer there.
Should we get that guy into play sometime soon?
Only if I'm dead.
One of us were to leave Erebor somehow, he might step into that role.
Only over my dead body, I think that's.
So, we're going to have a council with Dain, and whilst you're waiting for the herald to call you forward after Brock has left, you have an opportunity to to small chat about what you've been doing, but also to kind of like establish your kind of like goals in terms of what you're seeking to achieve in this council. So what I want to do is just kind of quickly run through and just frame this from a second edition rules point of view. So for those following along at home, it's page 104 is the council rules. And there are 3 steps to a council in second edition. There is setting the resistance, there is then the introduction, and then there's the interaction. So involved in setting the resistance is also an establishment of what your goal as a company is in the council. So you know that Dain is going to ask you and is going to task you as individuals, as a group, to go and fight the dragon. So So within that context, you kind of like need to agree what it is that you want to obtain from Dain, to be able to kind of like go ahead and achieve that. The resistance can be one of three values. It can be 3 because you're making a reasonable request. It can be a 6 because you're making a bold request, or it can be a 9 because you're making an outrageous request. And you've got to get as many successes as that is, and there's only so many times that you can roll to obtain success. So if you're going for an outrageous request, there's a greater opportunity that you won't get 9 successes in the number of times that you roll your skills. And you can only roll a skill once in a council unless you spend hope to roll it a second time, and you'd need to explain what you're kind of gonna do with that. And Dain, he has the roles can get modified by Dain's kind of like attitude towards you guys. And Dain has a kind of like good view of you guys. You're going to get 1 dice more to roll with your skills because he's like favourable towards you. From what you're going to be doing. So then the introduction step is similar to introductions in first edition, where you explicitly choose one spokesperson. You pick a skill that you think you're going to use that would be most applicable, or courtesy or what have you, and you can kind of go off and you can kind of do that. And then the interaction happens, which is where we kind of like play out the actual narrative of it, as I say, you'll get to use the skills, and we'll do the thing where we kind of talk about the line of attack you're going to use for the skill. We'll then roll, and then we'll narrate whether it was a success or a failure, because that just helps with the narration of what happens. Normal rules about kind of like spending hope and inspiring and distinctive features will apply, because it's all skill rolls and such like. Are we all kind of happy with that kind of structure to kind of like move forward?
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess the first thing is, whilst you're in the antechamber, you have an opportunity to agree what your objective is with this. You have a fellowship pool, which is 3 players, but because your patron is Barlin, you get an additional fellowship pool point. So you've got 4 fellowship pool in total, and that's in this edition you can refresh yourself from the fellowship pool when you get a rest, and the fellowship pool refreshes in the fellowship phase.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So character, go.
In terms of what we just thinking through the mechanics, in terms of what we want to get out of this council with Dain, we need help. There's no way we can just rock up to a dragon. And
I wanted to, yeah.
What we want in character is not to go fight a dragon.
Yeah.
That's the request. Please let us not have to go fight a dragon.
This is a fundamental threat to the safety of Erebor, Cirque.
It is, and we are but 3 dwarves, and there's an army of them. Send them.
I wanted to propose we could take my units. That's kind of the starting point for me. I want to take my dwarves. Dain
Operation Dwarven Shield.
Yeah.
Cannon.
There's a couple of
dragon fodder.
There's a couple of mates. No, there's a couple of mates. They owe me a few favors, and I'm sure they finished killing some cold drakes and the like, and then they could just join us in battle.
Yeah, they didn't seem that happy last time we saw them. There was something going on, but none of us had the insight to tell what it was.
All we have to do is get them in the golden sheaf, get the few beers in them, and they'll be keen.
They'll be keen, but they'll not be fit to fight anything for a month.
Are we not sworn to seek out a drake with your old battle friends?
Yeah, but we can slot this one before, as this is clearly Dane's priority. So we'll just tell him, look, let's do this first, and then we do your bit.
I don't know what your experience is, but I think they're quite rare. It's probably the same one.
I think you may be onto something there, Cirque. Should we?
Although this is Laughter of Dragons, plural.
Should we try to ascertain from Lord Dain or King Dain that I'm
The big D.
I've even forgotten his standing. Should we try to ascertain whether this is the same Drake that Lothar's friend from the camp in Dale, whose name is
I can dig it up.
Cauldron. Brothers Cauldron.
Cauldron?
Cauldron, yeah.
The two brothers.
Don't feel bad, even Lothar don't remember him.
Yeah.
And we're going to actually make a note of that this time. So that should be one of our goals, to get enough information that we can make that.
I doubt he's going to be resistant from that standpoint, is he? I think it's more, what's it going to cost him to have us go do this?
Yeah. If we sell it to him that there's potential treasure. I mean, I heard that there could be treasure there. We can just omit the word could, and there's a treasure, and, it will lead to a very eager dwarf, wanting to join us. I think that's at least what Lothar thinks.
Is that for your friends to come join us?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. But what are we asking Big D for?
We need help. We'll need help in the form of arms. So more dwarves than simply us. Hopefully some red shirts, and possibly some kind of object that would give us an advantage against a dragon that is such. If I'm not mistaken, Bard, who is now king, didn't defeat Smaug with an ordinary arrow.
That's very wise.
There was something special about the arrow that he slew Smaug with. I would imagine we need a similar kind of tool or device.
You're going to be the one talking to him, so feel free.
But we support you 100%. We're right behind you. And
well, about 10 feet.
Well, we must share our goals, otherwise we are but one dwarf dragging two others along.
Why change a habit of 27 sessions? We didn't say it was your decision. We just said you'll be the one doing the talking. You are the most lordly of us all. I have a tendency to go into the detail too much. He has a tendency to skip all the detail whatsoever. You strike a nice balance somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Thanks for the compliment, sir. It's a rare occasion. I must make note of.
Yeah. Mark the date. Notch on your mattock.
April the 22nd, 2960.
2960. Okay, I'm a year behind in my notes. That doesn't bode well.
Oh, I'm now less convinced about your standing.
Yeah, talk is actually 52, not 51. Okay, so our goal then is to seek further information about the dragon. That's a given, and for us to be able to work out whether it's possibly the same dragon, and then to enlist help in the form of other dwarves, whether that be the Cauldron brothers, and permission from Dain to find them, or perhaps he knows exactly where they are. And lastly, can we have a nice magical axe? Dwarves can't use spears, can they?
Or 3. I mean, 3 would be better.
Some kind of.
I don't want no matter.
Dragon tech.
Yeah, okay. Is there something in the vaults that can help us do this?
There's definitely something in the vaults. The question is, do
we want to borrow it for this fight, or are we just saying it's our payment as well?
Oh, I like that.
Are we going 6 or a 9?
I could not accept payment. This is my duty. That is payment enough to be able to, and so on. Yeah, go on.
But the payment would enable you to do your duty better. by the fact that you'd have a permanent magic mattock.
Well, let's see what Dain can come up
Yeah.
with first before we decide whether to pilfer it or not.
Oh, I wasn't saying pilfer it. I was just merely saying borrow it until such time as we're dead.
That's very wise.
A reasonable
That's a good
request.
idea. Yeah.
Or, for myself, maybe unrestricted access to the library.
You're pushing towards 9 now, I think.
He likes us.
Oh, fellowship focus. That's a good question. From the chat, G Tokyo Time asked who is whose fellowship focus. I can tell you that Torg's fellowship focus is Cirque.
Reciprocated. Sorry, Lifestyle.
No, it's okay, but I was still doing that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it matters.
Thing.
It matters.
Okay. I don't know. It's not my. I'll put it on. It's still Torg. I've not changed it.
So Torg's a lucky dwarf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We just don't mention to Loftar that the bromance doesn't go that way.
It's okay.
Okay,
He's fine with that.
so your asks of Dain are going to be: we need further information. We want you want to establish whether it's the same dragon as the Brothers Cauldron, or have Dain get the Brothers Cauldron to help you out. That's
So, we're allowed to bring them into the fold if they're not already.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I guess we need to inform Dain if he doesn't already know about their mission.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's the kind of politics of whether that aligns with his overall vision of Erebor, whether they're mavericks.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure we're mavericks.
Enlist help of other dwarves, and then you want to have. I think it would be a fine ancestral weapon rather than a kind of like a magical item.
Yeah.
We want something that's killed a dragon before, so that we know it works.
I like it, yeah. We need to check that this is actually right. What dragons has this killed and what grade?
Oh yeah, I want full provenance on it.
The paperwork. Yeah, we need to have the paperwork. Needs to be right.
There needs to be an etching of someone stood next to a dragon, skull like with it.
Previous owner.
I want to see
Full
some
service
dragon
history.
parts with obvious wounds from said weapon in the proper forensic analysis. I'm going for on this.
Yeah, got you. Okay. So having had this kind of like discussion between yourselves, you're called forward into the presence of Dain Ironfoot. You've met him before. You've spoken with him before. You've been interrogated by him before. He is wearing deep blue velvet clothing braided with gold edging. His beard kind of freshly groomed, the iron crown sitting on his head. He facing out of the window, and as you walk into this, just the chill air is bracing into your lungs. There are pots of flowers, white flowers, gathered around the edges, and there's light blue poppies towards the back. Dain turns and looks at you, the red sun rising through, flooding the chamber with light. He stands and he appraises each of you in turn. You can see that a tiredness marks his eyes, and the weariness that you've not seen rest upon his shoulders before is evident upon him. He waves all but his main herald away.
We leave.
And yourselves.
I guess, is it appropriate? So here's the thing: Torg being the spokesman is such a it's about as risky as Cirque being the spokesman, because courtesy is just not happening. But Torg probably, well, he knows enough of court etiquette to at least drop to one knee, and kind of hold the hilt of his mattock and address King Dain properly. Lord Dain. You have summoned us, and we did not wish to tarry.
Okay.
Yeah, here we are ready to serve Erebor.
So we're moving into the introduction then. So you have, despite your misgivings, been nominated as spokesperson. So which skill do you wish to use for the introduction? And what this does is it determines how many rolls you get to make in the interaction phase. So if you fail it, then you get to make as many rolls as the resistance, which I've decided is going to be a 6, because I think it's a bold request. It's not outrageous because there's nothing that's not rational and serves a purpose that Dain has, but it's still a bold request. And if you pass it, then you get as many skill rolls as the resistance +1, and then +1 for every Tengwa. So you could get more, because Dain is kind of open to you and is some of your fans anyway. He respects Barlin, who respects you. You get +1 success dice to all of the rolls, including the intro roll. So hit us up with the first second edition roll, which is going to be which skill?
It's going to be
riddle good, right? You've got a good riddle.
I've got 2 in riddle. I've got 2 in song, and I've got probably the best.
You walk in and break into song. It's like some sort of musical.
Hey Dain,
Second edition to
you
musical
blow my
version.
mind. Hey Dain.
Yeah.
Hey Dain.
But I think probably the best idea, if I can, is to use insight, which is a favored skill, and I have 3 dots in it.
How are you introducing yourself using insight?
So this is just for the introduction.
Yeah, just for the introduction.
Skill.
Yeah.
Yes, you've all courtesy or riddle. Which...
I mean, I'm gonna have to invoke a trait in order to have a chance. Because it would be courtesy. That's the one that you would use in this situation. But I get a +1 to it from.
You get +1 success dice. You get +1 from it. +1 success dice because Dain is open to you and favors you and kind of likes you and all that kind of stuff.
So I wouldn't want to use riddle, because riddle is it's slightly manipulative, and it's about hiding information and getting information from people without saying too much. Song is just weird.
Could you not just go insight on the grounds that you're reading his mood, his stance, the fact that he looks weary and there's something clearly wrong, and thereby introducing yourself in a... You're there to serve, you're there to assist. I'm here to honor your, to acquiesce to your request type thing.
It's more about, being inquisitive and curious and asking about him and trying to get at the bigger...
So insight isn't an introduction skill. Insight is an observation skill. So I'm quite happy for you to roll an insight skill check now to see what more you can obtain from that first impression of what he's like to guide what you do downstream. But you still got to introduce yourself, which is going to require you to come out of yourselves.
No, I think what I'll do is I'll go with courtesy, and I'll spend I'll invoke Lordly to become inspired.
Yep.
And spend a point of hope to roll with courtesy.
Okay.
Because I don't want to sing at King Dain just yet.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds cool. So you're going to use courtesy. You're going to invoke the distinctive feature of Lordly to make you inspired, and you're going to spend a point of hope, so you get the 2 additional dice plus 1 dice from Dain's attitude towards you. I think.
So the context there would be, I guess, Torg is kind of trying to bear up to that kind of court life, and and the kind of rituals and the etiquette of courts.
And what's the target number for your courtesy?
That's 16.
Okay. It's not too bad.
So
And for those who are new, we roll actual physical dice, and as if we were around the table. We don't use the dice roll or anything like that, and the guys just tell me.
So it's not a favoured skill, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, so it's just 1 feat die.
Yeah.
3 of these, and let's hope. Okay, so I've got so close. Only this was Tor first edition. I could spend a point of hope. I've got 15.
15. Okay, so that
Yeah.
would be a failure. So you have 6 skills that you can kind of like use in the next time. So having failed that, do you want to narrate how that kind of like plays out?
Yeah. So
by the way, failure. Whilst it's failure, it's not crash and burn failure. It's just not really achieving your goal. So it's not like you have to go and poke him in the eye or anything like that, tug at his beard. He's just not quite as courteous.
I'm calling by the wrong name.
So it could be success with woe and things like that, can't it?
Could Joe redo it or appeal to you? I've read about this failed rolls where you can appeal and change the skill and try to do it again with.
Yeah.
Whilst the option is normally there, I'm going to deny the option because you're introducing yourself and first impressions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so I don't feel that it thematically or narratively fits.
Let me try that again.
So
you walk out and come back in.
It's not opening the podcast. It's not opening the YouTube.
I guess, like, not to dwell on this, I'm fine with Torg failing a courtesy roll because he's not good at it. But I think there's like when a roll fails, you have 3 options. It's like success with woe, failure, and then failure with woe. But let's just play it out as a fail.
Yeah.
So Torg is kind of I guess thinking of those kind of moments in his father's halls, where the lords would be stood around having councils, and the kind of import and the way people carried themselves, those lords, was of utmost importance. And Torg kind of slightly awkwardly stands up and rearranges himself, tries to enact that physical manifestation of lordliness, and tries to speak of his past deeds. King Dain, I'm sure you have awareness of who we are, but I must, of course, talk of my lineage. I am son of Torek. I have wandered the Grey Mountains and the wastes on the way here to Erebor, and with my companions we have rid the hills around Dale of orcs and uncovered nefarious plots of the men of Dale, and the bandit Longo the bandit Longo who was a hobbit, and also we are here to do your bidding, King Dain. I trust you are well. He kind of falters at the thought of Clovis and his misdeeds with the Hobbit.
I am well, Torg, son of Turek, but your talk of achievements against orcs matters naught to the enemy that I wish to talk to you of now. Dragons, that may well be in our halls.
In our halls, Lord.
I dream
here in Erebor
of them in our halls once more. I have heard tell of a dragon that is coming of age in the north. I understand that dragons of old grew ever more powerful, and their fires became ever more strong as they grew in their age. And whilst this dragon does not immediately and directly affect us at this moment, I dream of the smoke and the fire and the fury and the death in our halls. And I will not let it be said that King Dain stood and did not strike when the dragon was young and more able to be slain, and let it grow until its might could come forth against his people, or the descendants of his people. So we must strike, and we must strike hard, and we must strike early. It is a dragon that I wish you to slay. To the north.
These are dark tidings, Lord. Of course, we are here to do your bidding. We will serve if we can.
Balin said that you were true servants of the crown, and that you were able to take decisions in the field that were difficult, but you weighed up the options wisely, and I trust his counsel in this matter. For I am worried that if this matter becomes more common knowledge, it will drive fear in my people, and that fear will become difficult. For I do not fear it now, but I fear it soon, and therefore striking it quickly and sharply is what I ask you to do.
Well,
I am also wary of spies of the dragon in our midst. There is something stirring up dissent in this region, and it would make sense that they are agents of a dragon, for we know that they wish to sit upon the gold of Erebor in the Great Hall again.
So secrecy was of clear importance here, Lord. But can you tell us where you have this news from?
Aye, there are spies that have come across the waste, that we have had that travel to the withered heath to try to keep the population down by slaying the young, finding nests of these creatures and such like. And they have spoken of a dragon that has clearly escaped our nest, our reach, when we were not as powerful, perhaps when Smaug still resided in these halls. This dragon, Raynar is its name, and it resides in an abandoned watchtower towards the north. The abandoned watchtower of Zarakimbar.
Zarakimbar. And is this dragon fully grown, King? And is it also a fire drake, or is it perhaps a different breed?
I do not believe it to be fully grown, and I am informed by the wise that all drakes, as they age, become fire drakes, and that the fire becomes stronger within them, and that dragon greed becomes stronger within them, and that will cause it to come here where it knows the treasures reside. So we must strike it soon and early. I understand that there are cold drakes that perhaps lack the qualities of those who breathe fire, but the sages are clear that as they reach their maturity, it is the fire that they seek, for it is powerful and consumes everything before it. And it is fire that I see in my dreams at night.
These are dark visions, Lord, and if I may say, they explain some of the tiredness in your face.
He's not entirely happy with you having said that, but okay.
Just continuing my failure at being courteous.
Yeah. As reward, for I would not have any of my my men go unrewarded in such a deed of danger, and I will not have it said that Dain, king of the mountain, does not value those who perform his will. I will provide you with gold and gems, such that you would become lords in your own right. The dragon's hoard, if such a thing exists, rightfully will become my property, and it must be returned to me intact. But additional shares of such treasures may be distributed by the crown as we see fit to those who have undertaken hardships on our behalf.
That is your rightful decision, King Dain, and
Sert's face looks exactly like Ben's.
Excitement, adventure, we crave not these things.
I speak for my companions when I say that we would not accept payment in gold or gems, and that our payment would be to serve the kingdom of Erebor.
And no weapons.
But there is one question which I feel we must answer, and that is, why us, Lord? We are but 3 dwarves and alone. Surely even a young Drake would be too much for 3 seasoned warriors. Perhaps there is another group that we could call on for help, who would also would enable your request for secrecy, would honor that request.
So you're advancing your argument to achieve your goals, which makes perfect sense. That's what we're here for. So what skill do we think you're kind of trying to employ here to achieve this? And you've got to get 6 successes, and you've got 6, I think, rolls to make them, if I've read this right.
Can't we help you out as well?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, surely we can chip in, with.
Well, there's like you can. It's like assisted and things. I was reading it briefly. I don't know where it is now.
Yes, so you can assist, which means that you spend. So the person assisting spends a point of hope, and the person doing the deed gets the extra dice.
And if it's the fellowship focus, so if you're supporting your fellowship focus,
yeah, I think you get the fellowship focus gets 2 extra dice.
That's handy that we make you speak then.
Yeah,
we both support you.
so that
we're gaming the system already.
That makes me inspired, doesn't it? If you support the fellowship focus, it makes me inspired, which means I can then spend a point of hope to get 2 dice.
That might be the way in which it works. That would make sense.
Because I think I've read it. That's page 20, according to G Tokyo Time. I think I've read it in 2 different interpretations in the book. One is that if you support your fellowship focus, they get 2 dice. The other is that, and this is in an example, in one of the little box out examples, if you support your fellowship focus, they then become inspired and may spend a point of hope to get 2 dice, which doesn't sound as good.
I can only see the support bit.
So a player hero may support another only if the circumstances allow it, and then the supporting hero possesses at least 1 rank in appropriate skill, which makes sense. I decide whether it's appropriate or not. Yeah, okay, cool. Only 1 player hero can spend hope to support the active player hero. The effect of that is the supporting character may spend 1 point of hope to let the active player hero gain 1 dice. And in the example, it is exactly that they gain 1 dice. I'm gonna go with, I'm going to go with the fact that you gain an additional dice. That's it.
Yeah.
and therefore 2 dice if it's your focus.
So, for example, in this one, if you're trying to get him to let us bring someone else into the fold, Lothar could add his or right, whatever it is that he's got in his things to, because it's his group of people that he's talking about that he's worked with, and you'd be like, oh well, they colleagues of Lothar's that we want to bring in, and then you'd get the additional dice on that grounds.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, so I think that was appropriate. I think it's this circumstance here, Dain is engaged with you as a group, whilst Torg has acted as a spokesperson, is expecting everybody to contribute. So it will kind of like make sense that maybe Lothar says, "Oh, I know some people, etc., etc.," and then the skill. So Torg would still roll, but you get added your dice to your ability so long as Lothar has at least one skill point in that skill. So if you think about what skill you want to use first as a group, and then we can kind of like work it out.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be in the same skill. Because in the example, the Hobbit's using craft, and it's law the skill that's used. So so I think it's you need a skill in something that makes sense for you, sort of thing.
Yes, that's absolutely.
So it'd be Lothar's or, for example. That's why I picked that. Would be
I'll be enheartened.
Yes. So a complementary skill essentially. So you use your complementary skill to help the other person in their role. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's interesting. Sorry, just to sort of make this maybe more awkward, but it's in this interaction. It talks about players making roles.
Yeah.
So I think in the interaction stage, I don't know how do we come into that, but it clearly talks about us as players, in plural, making roles, and then because you have to collect the successes and tenguas, which then translate into whatever it is that we want to get.
So any of you guys can make a roll. So you would say, right, I want to use this skill. This is what I'm gonna, I'm putting forward. It just so happens that Joe has been doing Tog has been doing the talking so far.
Yeah.
But that's not to stop it from Tog saying, Lothar, tell us about your group.
Yeah.
Or Cirque, tell us about any research that you've done into Dragonkind, or what have you. So there's a handoff there. So if you think. So this is broadly about you using your skills as a company to the most effect. So you want the person who's got the highest skill level in the skill, and then it might be that you want to supplement that by your complementary skills. That's the puzzle. It's almost like a puzzle box with a narrative attached, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I think first edition tried to achieve, but it wasn't quite as explicit in the way in which it tried to achieve it, if I'm entirely honest.
No, it was more like you go, then you go, then you go, then you go, rather than the kind of support mechanism.
Yeah, there was
interact in each other's.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to kind of like put forward a skill that they want to use, or even if you want to put forward a line of argument, and then we'll work out what skill may be relevant, or I'm quite happy to kind of work either way, to be perfectly honest. And coming back to what your objectives are.
So I need to be getting support from my fellowship focus, and my fellowship focus is Cirque.
Oh, what, to get the double bubble?
Yeah.
I think I'm best suited.
Fellowship focus. What page is the fellowship focus stuff on, Joe?
55. So that's where the example is as well. So it says, the Hobbit burglar is receiving support from his barding companion. The support action gained the Hobbit a bonus success die. If the barding was the burglar's fellowship focus, the Hobbit would also become inspired, allowing him to spend 1 hope himself and gain 2d more. So basically, it gives you 1 dice, and you become inspired. Man, this is a...
Right, so let me just read. The player who has made the skill roll and receiving support from their fellowship focus are additionally considered inspired if they invoked an appropriate distinctive trait. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Right, so yes, so that's explicit. So if it is the actor's fellowship focus that is supporting them, then they get inspired.
Yeah, they get the 1D.
Additionally considered, yes.
But they wouldn't. So they don't. They're just then inspired. They wouldn't necessarily have to spend it on that roll, would they? Because it's three steps, isn't it? You get the support, gets you a dice.
It's
The
for
support
that.
is from your fellowship focus. You become inspired. You can then spend that to get 2 dice instead of the 1.
No, inspired isn't a currency you spend. Inspired is for the roll that you get.
Oh, so it has to be for that roll.
Yeah.
Action.
Yeah, it's
I don't
inspiration
know what
or
I could give you at this stage that would. I don't have a relevant skill for this part of the argument.
So let's just take a little bit of a pace backwards, and let's just think about the narrative and the encounter. What do you want to do? How do you want to convince Dain to get further information for you? Bring the brothers Cauldron in, enlist other help, and get a magical ancestral weapon of fine with a pedigree of dragon slaying
So
and
Torg's
certificates of provenance.
go-to skill would be in Hearten, and he would weave a tale of glory for the dwarves and return to the power of the kingdom of Erebor by enlisting the help of the brothers Cauldron.
Okay.
And with the knowledge that they are themselves seeking a drake and may well already be may have made some progress and would keep things secret.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's various ways. I think that you could try to persuade him. You could try to maybe use a kind of like, I guess there's an angle to say a riddle roll to see if you could work out whether there are other people that may be commissioned.
I did say in Hearten, is that not?
In Hearten, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So
that's what
I miss. Okay, Entartan. Okay, so you're going to make an Entartan roll. It's one of your skill checks to bring in the other group where possible. Yeah. Okay, cool.
And if Cirque you cannot support,
I've got nothing that's going to help you in that. My key bit of help on this is going to be going. Oh, from previous history, there's been tried that we had weapons that were more effective against dragons. So I'll be able to really support on a lore roll or do the lore roll myself for that side of it. But yeah. I'm useless with anything courtesy based. I only have. So I've got 2 in persuade, but it's a bit.
Well, let's deal with this one then, and the rest of you guys have a look and think about how you will kind of like want to play this and what you might be able to bring to the table. Because
so I can.
You're going to run out of skills that Torg is good at very quickly.
So I mean, for me, I can just give a quick summary, so I can kind of along the lines of what Torg was saying.
Let's deal with what Torg's about to do, and then we'll come back around for other actions if you don't mind, Matt.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so in Hearten is a favoured skill for Torg, so 2 feet die.
Yep.
I'm gonna invoke leadership, if I may, to become inspired.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying to tell a kind of inspirational tale of champions and the kind of the dwarves amassing rather than 3 dwarves just wandering off.
Okay.
Try and whack a dragon around the head.
So from my perspective, I like leadership because you're saying, well, I don't just come alone. I've got people. I'm a leader. This is what part of what I do. So that's kind of makes sense that could be invoked at this point. Dain would understand and respond to that.
Okay.
You get your
Excellent.
1 dice because Dain is friendly towards you.
Oh, so I get a bonus die for Dain being friendly.
All of the skill checks, you get a bonus die because Dain likes you guys.
Okay, that's
at
nice.
the minute. I'm going downhill.
Also going to spend a point of hope to get 2 bonus dice.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
There's my pencil down there. Is okay. So that gives me a total of 6.
Yeah.
That's way more dice than Torg is used to rolling.
That is very true as well. Dice.
And
Any cap on it like they used to be?
No. Okay, so here we go.
Just keep stacking.
I like how I answer all these questions confidently, having read a third of the book.
Two Tanguas. Okay,
Two Tanguas.
Two Tanguas. I've got the feet dice are a 6 and a 5, so I'll take the 6. So we've got 18, 28, 33, 34. Extraordinary success.
Fail.
Yeah, so Dain is not happy about this. No, right. So let's just work this through to make sure that we've got this right then.
Yeah.
So you're using Enhearten,
Yes.
for which you have skills of
3.
got 3. Okay.
Yeah.
You inspired yourself through invoking the distinctive trait of leadership, which we all agreed, yep, that makes sense. And then you spent a point of hope to get 2 more bonus dice. And because Dain is open towards you, you got a bonus dice for the council to roll 6 dice. And then Hearten is a favoured skill, so that's worth turning up for. So this is going to go very well for you, and because you got the Tanguas, I think they count as additional successes towards the resistance value.
Yeah.
So that would be 3 of your 6.
So would I spend them? Is that how it works? Because there's the whole thing of
Ooh,
spending.
that's true.
Tanguas.
I don't know. Let's
Which
have a look to see what happens. What would you have spent them on?
Well, I'd have to look at the table. But this whole thing of spending Tanguas, I think, cuts across all of the skill actions, and
Yeah.
basically lifted from the year 0 framework.
So there are some that would be relevant. So you score an additional success, gain insight, and such like.
That's it then, isn't it? Spending it to score additional success.
Yeah, so I think that I don't see that the rule makes sense that you would then spend them for additional successes, because it would just explode. So I think that you're using them, and the rules force you to spend them as additional successes rather than giving you volition to.
Yep. Okay.
It wasn't 2 bonus hope dice, was it? No, because we got a question from.
It was
GT
2 dice because
it's 1 for the inspire and then 1 for the hope. So it was 3 for the roll, 1 for the one for inspiring through the.
No, one from Balin. One from Dain being friendly.
Yeah, so that's the 4.
Yeah.
And 1 from you spending Enhearten or invoking Enhearten. Lordly, sorry.
Leadership, yeah. Lordly.
Yeah, leadership. Well, that's it. And then you spent a point to then make that another one.
No, so I invoked leadership to become inspired, which then allows me to spend a point of hope to roll 2 extra dice.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't think so. Whatever the rule is, and we'll check this, but I don't think you can then spend those success dice in the special success table, because you just get additional successes, and then it would be like trivial. It would trivialize it.
So that's because councils are a subsystem.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense to me. And
is that not a way of then you actually being able to achieve something like a 9 when you only have 6 interactions? How else do you go over the top then?
So the Tanguas count as additional successes naturally in the council rules.
So it is 3 successes then.
It's 3 successes, yeah. So Joe's question was, in addition to those 3 successes, could I spend the 2 Tanguas to get an additional benefit, like 2 more successes?
But haven't they already been spent in the fact that it becomes a success?
Yeah. Just reached, essentially.
And I think I've just been looking at the special successes as well. I mean, you just sort of enrich the final result as well. So you can't really add anything. It's just like a case of, for example, assisting a fellow player or doing something silently beyond the success you've already achieved.
So one of the second thing on the table, Matt, is score 1 additional success. So that's where you use it in a council, right?
Yeah. So it's effectively that's you done. So it was a success from passing it for the number, and then you had 2 Tanguas to then spend for the 2 additional successes,
which is detailed and clarified in councils, I'm guessing.
It's actually not. Council's rules are silent on it, so I'm making a call to say that it feels like it would just explode out.
Well, yeah, because if you could then spend them again and it became 5 successes,
Yeah.
you'd be done in like seconds, wouldn't you?
Oh, it's in the framework of special successes from the looks of it. It's just that
Yeah.
in the council, you wouldn't want to spend a success to go quietly
Yeah,
or make
exactly.
haste. You'd use it to score the additional successes, I think.
Yeah, so that's the way I'm going to call it. I think it kind of like makes
Yeah.
makes the most
Makes sense. Yeah.
sense. I think gain insight. Yeah, G Tokyo time saying could you spend it to gain insight, and I was thinking about that, but I think to kind of keep it simple.
Because the thing about gaining insights is that you're not getting information related to the task at hand, so it has to be a separate. And we're kind of focusing on getting stuff from Dain. So
That action was about petitioning Dain, wasn't it? It wasn't about trying to understand something from him. It's like, let's give us permission to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
This is why you do things for real, so you can work these kind of kinks out that don't occur to you.
Yeah.
As you're doing it.
Right. We're on the right track anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So you got so for the sake of this particular argument, you've got three.
106 bottom right.
You've got three. Page 106 bottom right. Okay. So if we've got a page reference, that makes life a lot easier. 106.
Yeah. Thanks to G Tokyo time for sorting this out. Actually,
Yeah.
page was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, just each as seen on page 18, each turn while counts as additional success.
Yeah, right. Good stuff. Okay, so that clarifies it then. It forces you to count them as additional successes. You don't have discretion for other stuff. Brilliant. Wonderful. I hope people don't mind this being a very disjoint council as we go.
It sounds. I think it's really thematic that someone pauses mid-council to go look up some ancient rule or courtesy or etiquette thing. It's just go. Oh, actually, in the case of, let me cite this rule.
One of Dane's advisors comes up with the Dwarf Brett's guide to etiquette.
Yeah. Page 206.
Okay,
subsection 4.
Let's go then. So let's narrate this then, Talk. So you have incredibly successfully presented the case here. So what you had a really good lead in. Dwarves shouldn't stand alone and so on.
And when we first came to Dale, the three of us, Cirque, the knowledge seeker, Lothar, the veteran of the 5 armies, and myself, a mere lordling seeking adventure and answers in Erebor, we chanced upon a large band of hardy warriors, stout dwarven warriors, and they are dwarves of great repute who Lothar has fought alongside. They themselves seek a drake in the hills around the wastes, and perchance, King Dain, it could be the very same drake. And were we to align our quest with that band who are confident in their abilities, we may have a chance to bring great renown to the kingdom of Erebor by slaying this dragon, regaining its hoard, and returning it to the kingdom of Erebor. And much more chance do we have as a band, like the old war bands of yore, venturing north and slaying the dragons, bringing their scales back to the kingdom to hang on the walls, rather than the three of us who, stout and true-hearted as we are still limited in what we can achieve.
Aye, you speak true, Torg, son of Tarek. I feel like this dragon has clouded my mind somewhat. I knew Kuldrim's brother of old, an upstanding dwarf. 'Tis a shame that he was put beneath the earth. Bring the brothers Kuldrim into this circle of secrecy. Lead them, as you have spoken, to recover the hoard for the kingdom, and let us adorn the walls of Erebor with the scales of our enemy. Aye.
I swear it will be so, King Dain.
There are indeed allies that we can rely upon of our people in this time, and I'm glad that you reminded me of this.
So that's two answers then, really, isn't it? Because we know he said bring them in, so they weren't already hunting the same. Well, not necessarily, we don't know, but they weren't part of his bit before then.
That's what you
'Cause he
get when the
wasn't like-
storytellers don't pay as much attention to things as he should do.
Nice. They might be hunting the same drake, but we know that it's not on Dane's
orders. Yeah,
orders. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you want me to
Okay.
go for my role now?
Yeah, so now you guys decide. I know Lothar is itching at the bit to explore.
So, because I kind of, the problem for me is that Joe kind of covered most of the stuff that I was about to talk, because I kind of want to use Enhearten as well. So I kind of followed the same vein.
So you have to spend
And
a point of hope to use the same skill twice.
Oh, so even if it's the same skill, I would have to spend the point of hope. So I can't get the double bonus. Or can I spend 2 points of hope? If I invoke the...
I don't think you can.
Spending them
You
on
can
different
spend-
things, isn't it?
So let's unpick that from the beginning then. So what I wanted to do is use Enhearten and then invoke Proud to become inspired, so when I would spend the point of hope.
So the rule says players cannot employ the same skill more than once during this stage. They are allowed to do so only if they spend hope on the second roll. So that feels to me like you're not spending hope to get the second roll, you're spending hope on the second roll. And therefore you would be able to do that, yes. So you'd spend hope and you'd get benefits thereof of spending hope, as well as allowing you to do it the second time round.
Okay, so here it goes. I would like to invoke Proud, and I'm to use the Enheartened, because having secured the men or the dwarves, I want to try and aim at the weapons. So, the Proud is making me inspire, and then I want to spend the point of hope to get another bonus. So that's the technical bit, right? Is that then covered?
So let's have.
And then I'll do the narrative.
Yeah. So let's have a look at. I want to go there. Why can I not go there? I'm just trying to find the definition of proud in terms of eyes here.
Okay.
Proud. You hold your feats and achievements of those of your people in high esteem. So how does proud relate to this?
I'm going to talk about the Battle of the Five Armies, because I have to talk about this. Sorry, Joe, you just said it first, but I'm milking that now. And I'll say it again then. The summary is he mentioned about Drake. There was some concern, so I want to use the Enhearten to lift his spirit and say that we need not to worry about this. We need to be brave warriors, as in the Battle of the Five Armies, where we really faced the enemies and defeated them. So that, obviously give us the weapons. But yeah, let's talk about this.
So you're demonstrating your pride in what the people of Durin have done previously. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
And how that can help us overcome his concerns about the drakes.
Okay. So let's do the maths on this then. So your Enhearten is.
It's also 3, and it's a favored skill as well.
So
I've learned from the best.
Dice.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So I'm rolling feat dice twice first. I guess I'll do that. And I've got that.
Do you?
And I've got it. So
Do you have to spend hope to use inspire then?
Yes.
You
So
have to spend-
inspire means that you get 2 dice when you spend hope. That's how I read it.
Yeah, so basically you're spending it to be able to use the skill, and then if you then want to inspire yourself, you've got to spend it again to inspire yourself.
Sorry.
No.
To use in hearten, it's changing it. So in order to use the same skill, you have to spend 1 hope. Is that the rule?
That's correct.
on the second roll, yeah.
Yes.
It's so that we can't just sit there and go law, or courtesy. Just we actually have to have some diversity.
So I've got to, yeah.
So this
And
is
you can
okay.
only do this. You can only do it for the second time. You can't do it a third time. You can't do it a fourth time. So the rules allow you to try a skill again a second time if you fail. If you fail the first, I guess. But there's a special thing in the council.
Or if, like us, we've got a load of overlap.
So what do you get? Sorry, Matt.
So yeah, so on the feed die, it's a good result. I've got a 2 and a Gandalf, but I guess in the scheme of things, that's not an extraordinary thing because it doesn't translate in the ordinary successes that we want to multiply. It just gives me a success. I mean, albeit it's a
Do you get any Tengwars?
just 1.
Okay, so that's an extraordinary success. So you get 2 successes.
great.
Okay.
Great
Yeah,
success.
sorry, great success. Thank you, Jeff.
Is that still the term? Oh, I haven't looked.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I carry. So that makes
you
it 2
are
then.
successful in that. So let's narrate through what you're after, and how you play that out.
Yeah. So Lord Dain, you mentioned concerns about dragons, even in the holes, and how they can threaten our kind. But I just wanted to remind you the really victorious battles we've had in the Battle of the 5 Armies, and how when we get together as a nation or as a group of dwarves, we can achieve great things. And you've already kindly allowed us to have the benefit of the fellow dwarven warriors to aid us in the battle. Surely we can also obtain some of the items from your treasury, some of the weapons perhaps that can aid us even further into this battle, because we have to be bold now. That's the time now, is to be bold, because that's the only way to defeat the dragon, in a similar way as Smaug was defeated with bold action of a group of men. That's kind of, I want to weave it so that I'm trying to get the weapons from him, and then obviously use the Battle of the 5 Armies.
I recall that battle. It always leaves a sour taste in my mind recollecting that time, for it cost me and our folk greatly. Let me think on your request, Lothar, whether there resides in our treasury an item that would be able to be wielded by you all. The main item I can recollect is in the keeping of Captain Elstan of the Black Archers within Dale. The Aegis of Dale, a shield that is said to protect against the strongest, the most fierce of dragonfire. But it is not mine to grant nor to borrow. But perhaps we can impress upon King Bard. Let me think upon it. Is there more that you wish to say, or is our audience finished now? You've got 1 more success to get, by the way.
Okay.
I believe Cirque has.
It's not relevant now. Because it would have been about the weapons, and we've already had our answer. It would have been the plan was I was going to use Rhymes of Law to see if there was anything in our history to talk about that sort of stuff, and if we had access to it, but we've got it covered now. It's not. We wouldn't walk up and go, "I know you said we haven't got anything," and to go there, but if you really think about it, even he's not that discourteous in this scenario.
The reason why I'm a little bit circumspect about that is because you actually do need to resolve the success before all these things unwind. I've just realised I've kind of like narratively given you a load of stuff and you haven't actually succeeded in the council. I'm gonna have to think about how I approach these things a little bit.
We have succeeded in the council,
There
but
is.
just not as in not to the full degree of
That's
the.
right. Yes,
It's like, so we got our 5 successes, which got us the support. It got us our answer that he didn't know about them already hunting drakes,
Yeah.
and we essentially we know information of where there is something that could help us. It just happens to not be in his possession.
So you can try more skills. It's not like one per person. You can try all of the skills that are available to you.
Well, there's just a highlight. There is a box out at the top of page 107, which I think it's 107, which says awarding effective role playing if the delivered speech touched topics that are relevant to the company's goal and are deemed important by their audience, then the LM can enhance a successful die result as if it rolled an additional Tengwar.
Nice.
So let's just see what the hobbits say about these things.
Yeah.
So we're just saying that it doesn't really matter, although we need to pass the council, we need the 6 results. But there is this bonus rule, which is that if the speech touched topics that are relevant to our goal and are deemed important by Dain, then you can enhance a successful die result.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just think about this then. So let's just answer the question of why 6. So according to the rules, if you don't get the resistance achieved, then you fail, and fail means it depends. It's quite extreme, really. Actually, I think you don't get what you asked for, and are dismissed. You create an enemy, or they end up doing more drastic things. Okay, but you've got to cover all of the bases here. So at the moment, Dain is considering whether he's going to kind of give you an additional weapon or not. So you would need to get to the 6. So let's just have a look to see if you get to the 6 by the description of the lore master who how much interaction. Yeah, okay. If this delivered speech touch topics that are relevant to the company's goal and are deemed important by their audience, then the lore master can enhance. Yeah. Okay, so I will grant the extra success icon, pushing you to 6.
Yay!
Yeah, so you do have a number of skill rolls. You do have a number of skill rolls available to you, but you've with the additional one that would push you to the resistance, which would be 6. So what Dain says is that he will. So that's that. Okay. Also, partly I'm aware of the fact it's 10 o'clock, and I do want to get some of the elements of this kind of like moving along a little bit. So where are we at? So Dain kind of stands, kind of resplendent before you. I will go to the treasury, and I will search to identify an item that will be of use to you, and I will dispatch it forward to you. I am given to understand that the company of the Brothers Culdream have overwintered at the House of Breck in the northern Dalelands on the edge of the wastes.
Not Brock, my lord.
Not Brock. Lord Iron Fist is from a different region. Make way there, and I will send on an item worthy of the battle for which it will be used.
That is very gracious of you, King Dain.
You have inspired me with your talk of action, and I feel that by taking hold of this problem, my troubles may ease a little.
Then let us deliver on that promise.
I and my kingdom rely upon this. For whilst this worm may not be so strong that it will bring us down now, those fires will burn and burn and burn until such time as its threat will be dire and existential. A word I learned from the elves. And you are dismissed from his company, and I will work up a magical item using the rules, which will be good.
Us.
Okay, so what are you doing now, guys? You're outside of the council, and off we go.
Well, I would assume we are heading to the House of Breck.
Yeah. Okay.
Breck Ironfoot.
Breck Ironfoot. Shall we take a 5-minute break just to replenish drinks and such like?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're going to take 5 minutes and we'll be back very shortly.